Welcome back to the TheChowTimePod. It's your host, Red. I got a video today from Britt Cooper. Is whatever podcast making girls look dumb? I mean, I think girls make themselves look dumb on whatever podcast. If anything, Fresh and Fit like forcibly makes women look dumb in the way they kind of like portray things. But whatever podcast is very fair in their assessment of things and just how his podcast goes. So please like and subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate that. Let's get to that chow. It's chow time.
Welcome back to the comment section. I'm Brett Cooper. I am sure that you guys have seen either full episodes or clips from the Whatever podcast.
Damn
if you guys
right.
watch my channel consistently, you will have seen that I reacted to many of those episodes, many of those clips, but I think we all know what it is. Well, New York Post decided to publish an article saying that the Whatever podcast is disturbing and is sexist towards women. And it's utterly ridiculous. They are being called out on their BS. And we're going to read that article together. Before we do, though, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to this channel if you have not already, and ring that notification bell so that you never miss a comment section or off the clock episode. Alrighty, so this is the article, and they posted this a few days ago. Making women look dumb is a disturbing new podcast trend. Now, they are specifically pointing out the Whatever podcast, but the Whatever podcast is not the only podcast of this genre. Fresh and Fit, I think, was the first of this kind. I think Whatever is maybe, I don't know, it shows up more on my timeline and on my For You page. I don't see as many Fresh and Fit clips, but I know that it is still around. But they are specifically nitpicking Whatever podcast. Anyway, a podcast with hundreds of thousands of subscribers and followers across online platforms is stoking the flames of controversy by belittling female guests and making them look dumb. Whatever, hosted by Brian Atlas, masquerades as a dating talk show while delving into gender roles, body counts, and legitimacy of the patriarchy.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
All of that is very accurate.
Yeah.
He's not masquerading as anything. You just explained exactly what it is. But then going on,
pretty
the
much.
podcast team uses social media to seek women panelists, only to later roast them online in snippets, pandering to the virality of inflammatory hot takes. Now, you are forgetting how these women also roast and attack Brian and any of the other guests that they have on that maybe agree more with him. Like, this is not a one-sided situation. The women are not in the minority here. In one episode, the panelists, who are all women, rate themselves as all 10s, much to Atlas's shock. I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to rate you guys, but none of you are a 10, he says in response, prompting a chorus of agreement in the comments by users cruelly joking about the women's weight and their appearance. In another, Atlas grills the panelists on their body counts or how many
It's definitely a woman that wrote this article.
people they have been intimate with, and is met with resistance. Quote, "It doesn't matter to me, but it matters to you guys," one woman said, gesturing to the men sitting across the table. "So I'm not going to put myself out here and say my body count just for you two to ridicule me or something." Well, at least she's admitting that it does matter to guys.
Yeah.
She kind of lost herself in a trap there. But anyway, yes, the Whatever podcast creates controversy, and it is spicy, and people fight. That's kind of the MO of it. But that's not what you're arguing about. You're arguing that the podcast makes women look dumb. That was your thesis. That was your headline, but you give no examples of Brian Atlas doing this. Him expressing his opinions, which he is allowed to do on his own podcast, and his audience commenting things, which is also allowed, is not making women look dumb. What makes them look and sound dumb are the things that come out of their mouths. Maybe in their circles.
Women are just trying to defend each other in every way possible by writing these types of articles for each other. I was like, oh, anything that makes women look dumb, it's men's fault. It's always men's fault. They go on a podcast, dress scantily, talk some dumb shit, and it's men's fault. It's our fault for writing a podcast for them to come on and spew their idiot guts, and it's our fault. And they get views and subs for their OnlyFans and things like that, but it's all our fault. It's always men's fault.
Or other circles, their degeneracy or lack of intelligence wouldn't be as stark and shocking to people, but put up next to guests like Michael Knowles and Lila Rose from Live Action and Isabel Brown.
Yeah, Michael Knowles was on there, and like a few, he's a member of the Daily Wire also.
It is very apparent.
I am smarter than the hot 18-year-old. We're smart, they're stupid.
Like these 19-year-olds talking about their body counts. They chose to have sex with this many people, and they chose to reveal this.
That's
My body
true.
count is 10.
19.
Oh, damn. Okay, so here's the real question. Do I lie or do I say the truth? Mine's, I think it's like 13, I would say.
Mine is actually 1.
Wild.
Yeah.
Just one.
Just one.
And it's your current
Rare.
boyfriend.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's precious.
It's special.
She's telling the truth.
The fact that she was like
So,
nervous
like,
about saying that is so sad.
4.
Yeah.
Multiply it by 3, and that's the real number.
So 12.
Those are 19-year-olds. She's just appalling. But they chose to say that. Here's another example. This girl is claiming that white people can't face racism. She also opened her mouth and said this.
It's always going to affect my life. I can't take off my skin color. As a black woman, like, prejudices that exist against me don't exist against you, Brian. And that's why you can't be racist against a white person. So I'm sorry if you feel offended. But you are white, and me calling you white boy isn't exactly racist.
I mean, you are addressing me by my skin color. I consider
Your
it a
skin
bit.
color will never lead to the, premature murder of yourself.
I'm the only male at this table here. There are more white men killed by police officers than women of any race combined.
I mean, then why aren't you mad? Why don't you hate police too?
Because I realize that police are a necessary function.
I think that's really easy to say as you, once again, I'll reiterate, a white person. And again, that's not to be racist.
So she said she can't be racist towards him because he's white, but then she's going, not to be racist. So you're admitting that you could be. Also, what did you say? The premature murder of yourself? That's not English. Like, what are you even trying to say? Again, She said that herself. Did Brian force her to say, is she reading a script? No, she's answering questions. Here's another one. This is the last one I'll show you. This girl is parading around some feminist talking points. Again.
Women have been oppressed since the beginning of time.
How?
And it's natural.
Oh, gosh.
How? Are you really?
If I say, how were women oppressed? You're like, well, it's self-evident, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't have to educate you. Yet you've just asked me the same question. You've just asked, how were men oppressed? Shouldn't you know?
No, because that wasn't taught in school.
So isn't that interesting? Male oppression was never taught in school. Female's oppression was. Isn't that interesting? So who's really oppressed then?
Oh my God, Brian.
She has no response other than to blankly bat her eyes with her huge fake eyelashes and go, oh my God, Brian. Oh my God. They're doing this themselves. That's the point, guys. He's asking questions. He's pushing back. Their responses are creating their reputation.
What is this idiot babbling about?
Nobody else is doing this. They said all of that themselves live on a 3-hour podcast willingly. And that is what this article also fails to acknowledge. And it is a very famous podcast at this point. They know what they're walking into. You cannot honestly say that Brian Atlas is bamboozling these women and these guests by setting them up when they know what they are agreeing to. And to flip this a bit, if you think that these women do not know what they're agreeing to and have no idea what this podcast is, then I think that you are the person that is actually calling these women dumb. Think about it. And the last point I'll make is that these women are totally free to get up and leave the studio and walk out of the podcast at any moment in time. If they think that they are being belittled, if they don't want to be there, they do have agency. They can get up, they can walk out, they can go to their car, and they can drive away. If they don't have a car, they need to check out Cars Inc. Buying a new car can be a stressful experience for anyone, especially if you're a first-time buyer, maybe you don't have any credit and plan whatsoever. I think this article now has 6.9 million impressions on Twitter, which is just fantastic. But one person said, making The View has been doing it for years. That's like the pinnacle of women making themselves look dumb. Somebody else said, ridiculous framing. They bring them on and they ask questions. Their answers make them look foolish. If you want to look smart, deliver a smart response. It's really not that hard. If you think that these women cannot handle coming on this podcast and dealing with a man asking them questions, then again, I think you are the one saying that women just do not have intelligence or not smart enough to do this. Then check yourself.
Well, I think she's mad at these women for making women look dumb. So that's why the only way for her to justify what's going on is by blaming men. That's what the whole article's about. But obviously they have no fucking evidence of that. That's why they just literally just state what the podcast does.
Somebody else said making and no help needed. Another person said, have you considered that these women are actually just dumb? Chloe Cole commented and said something that I love. I've seen some pretty dumb dudes on that pod, TBH. I think it's entertaining because it's all just a race to the bottom. And this is an excellent point, and I am specifically remembering this viral exchange between Lila Rose and this alpha red pill bro. So let's just watch this because it's not just the women. People come on, they're given a platform, they open their mouths, and it's up to them whether they're going to be smart or dumb.
If you have only one place in your heart for one woman, or you want to have one woman in your heart, I think you said, why don't you just commit to one and choose to be faithful to her?
I'm just not wired that way. I spent my whole 20s trying to fix myself. Thought
You're
something
a
was
man
wrong
of
with me.
self-control. You work out, you do business.
Yeah, I don't want you to think I'm triggered by you. I'm not. I saw somebody say that, and I think that's interesting. I think you're annoying, but I'm not triggered. You know what I'm saying? No, you are. You're annoying in like this goody two-shoes type way, and that's fine. I'm going to live my life on my terms.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
I also agree that was pretty
She
dumb.
absolutely cooked him. That man is like an alpha red pill. I'm a high value man, but refuses or cannot commit to one woman because he's just not wired. No, it's that you're choosing not to because you don't value it. And you would rather be promiscuous and sleep around with a bunch of people rather than doing the hard thing and the meaningful thing and commit to one woman and treat her well. And Lila Rose perfectly laid that out for him. So I'm planning on actually doing a deeper dive on this, but in my opinion, a large portion of the alpha red pill bros are just as bad and degenerate as the OnlyFans girls with absolutely no morals. Yes, maybe they have a nice, good based tweet every once in a while, but even a broken clock is right twice a day. And they still come on this podcast and show how dumb they are, just like the women, and they do it on their own accord.
Correct.
This is not some belittling done by Brian Atlas or his podcast or Fresh and Fit. These women are just speaking their truth, and the audience is realizing that it is incredibly, incredibly stupid.
You know, I didn't really have much to say throughout that whole video. She was spot on. You know, I love these podcasts. You know, I love whatever because I can't really watch Fresh and Fit too much just because the way they do their podcast and just the way Myron kind of goes about things. But whatever podcast I actually truly enjoy, he brings in a lot of. He brought in Dr. Orion recently, and I thought that was a great episode. So I think Brian is actually doing much more helpfulness than a lot of other podcasts or any other content for men. So it is what it is. Please like and subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate that. And I'll catch you guys next time. It's Chow Time.